Good afternoon and welcome back to the Kerry Garden Show. Alan Finn back with you here again, and I'm joined by our gardening expert Miguel here from Boyle and Kilorglin.
Hello Alan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit peckish.
Are you?
Yeah, how about we have an edible show today, will we?
Why not? Okay,
so
have a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. So today, Miguel, we're going to be talking about our veg. We're going to talk about fruit. We're going to have some herbs as well too. Everything edible, because of course we mentioned it before, everybody is looking at being more self-sustainable and getting out of the garden and creating a bit more and having their own food. There's a lot of satisfaction to growing your own, isn't there?
It actually is, you know, and even if it tastes the same, it tastes better.
Yeah, it tastes better, exactly, yeah.
And I bet you it will be better than the tomatoes we can get in the supermarkets that are just, I don't know how to describe that.
You and your tomatoes.
Spanish,
you and your tomatoes.
I'm Spanish, I'm not used to that lack of flavor. So you better grow your own.
Better grow your own. You're better off. Okay, right. So we've got a big selection here, but there's the one thing you mentioned to me already before we started the show is the different growing times. But we'll start with preparation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's very important.
Preparation, always very good, especially when it comes to gardening and when you're looking after your veg and stuff like that. So, what are the first things people should be looking at in regards to preparing and choosing what they want to grow?
First, it's that essential, is cleaning, a very thorough out clean.
Okay.
If you have a polytunnel, clean it very, very, very hard. You know?
Okay.
If you have a raised bed, you could consider getting rid of the old compost and clean it as well.
Yeah.
To prevent, it's just some fungi stay on the ground. So if you had the problems last year, maybe they're still there.
Okay.
Even if you didn't have any problem,
it's
very good enriching the soil you have.
Yeah.
So it's a very common mistake as well.
All right.
Not enriching the soil. You have that raised bed full of something that has been working for a couple of years, and you think that is going to work.
Yeah.
And it will. You will still have a few tomatoes and a few things, but you won't get a decent crop.
Yeah.
So it's essential cleaning, and then improving the soil or getting new soil. If you're going to grow in containers, use always new soil, right?
Okay.
The best soil you can use is probably an enriched multi-purpose compost.
Okay.
But don't forget, to have better crops, the soil has to be rich.
Okay.
And clean.
Clean. Okay, now, because I know a lot of people who would have regularly growing vegetables, they do what's called, they move the crops around to different sections and then they would kind of obviously enrich each thing, because would certain veg need more than others?
Certain veg leave nitrogen in the soil. Some veg, they take nitrogen of the soil, but you don't know.
You don't know which veg.
So what you don't know really what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Corn. You have to leave the.
I don't know what I'm doing. That's
so you
that's what I'm here with you.
And at the end, that's complex. That's not easy to do.
Okay.
Alternate crops is every farmer knows that they have to alternate crops.
Yeah.
It's just generations. It's like in your blood.
Yeah.
But if you have a raised bed, you don't know what you're growing. Peas, they will give you nitrogen.
Okay.
But you just better get some decent.
Start with a clean slate.
Exactly.
Clean slate.
Exactly, because or if would be a soil test.
Okay.
But I will say that's going to cost you more than filling it with new compost. If you take a sample of your soil to a laboratory, it's going to cost you more than 20 bags of compost. So you better get rid of the old thing.
Okay.
And get from new.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so what's suited for say raised beds?
So I wouldn't grow tall plants in raised beds.
Okay.
They're normally not too deep. They're shallow, so they are very good for beetroot or lettuce or cabbage that they don't need a very, very high amount of soil. They can grow in shallow.
Okay.
But I will grow cucumbers or tomatoes. These are the tomatoes we sowed the other day.
Week, yeah.
See how they are behaving.
Yeah. Wow.
I will transplant them to another pot in a few days.
Okay.
And they will grow like I don't know how to say like lunatics.
They will, right? Yeah, they would grow like crazy.
So they are
but again, it's
need
into the polytunnel.
And in this case, in these three cases, cucumber, courgette, or similar pumpkins, the bigger the pot, the better.
The bigger the pot.
Maybe
Oh my
that's
God,
an exaggeration.
Now, for our
That's a
listeners,
very big-
Miguel has just picked up a huge tub.
120 liter
I'd
tub.
say that's a tub.
That's
Like, you nearly have a bath. in that.
That's a very big tub. That's an exaggeration, but
Okay.
it gives you an idea that the bigger, the better.
Okay.
In this case, for tomatoes, they will be growing spectacularly, and they grow down, they grow sideways, they grow down. So a raised bed wouldn't be very
Wouldn't be
useful
good.
for you.
Okay.
Then the other thing with the raised bed is that it's going to be difficult for you unless you have a frame to tie the tomatoes or tie the cucumbers. See,
Okay,
we
yeah.
have in these cucumbers already a little stick
Yeah.
supporting them, and soon enough I will be tying them with cable ties or rope or twine or
Yeah.
whatever you prefer.
We have the reusable
Sorry.
ties here. Yeah.
Adjustable,
Adjustable.
and you can just reuse them next year. But they need support.
Okay.
So the sooner you give them support, the better, because the growth, if they are rambling, the internodes will be very long. So you'll have a very weak plant. Once you want to try to lift it up, it will be probably breaking. And you will have half of the plant, and it won't produce nearly anything. So you need a support.
Now, at the moment, those courgettes and cucumbers that you have there now in front of us here, you're not tying them down because they will be quite young.
Yeah.
So you have to wait. At the moment, you're just kind of leaning them up
Exactly.
against the little sticks.
I don't want to damage them, so what I do is I find where they are leaning towards, and I put the stick there, and I do it between two leaves to get them support. In a few days, they will be big enough to start clipping them. But for now, it's just enough for them.
Yeah.
They will start growing upwards.
Yeah.
And
Give
then
them a little help.
Exactly, just a little bit of support. If not, again, they will be rambling, and once you try to lift them up, most probably you will be breaking half of the plant. And that's very important because you'll have biggest fruit if they are growing up.
Okay, so the higher they go, the better fruit you're going to get?
It's not the higher,
No.
but it's when they are going up, the size of the fruit is bigger than when they are going down. So if you have a support
Yes.
in your polytunnel and you're growing the tomatoes, once they reach that upper side and they start hanging again, that tomatoes will be smaller than the tomatoes that are growing. And if
Okay.
you let them ramble, the fruit will be smaller as well. So
Okay.
I don't know exactly why, but they like to be growing up.
Growing up, okay. I suppose closer to the sun is kind of what they're.
I think so.
Is kind of
And-
what they're thinking
And they
about.
get more. They have more air. They have more sun. They're more. So they like it.
Yeah, so they're kind of for the polytunnels. Let's talk about the raised beds because we've got a great selection, as you mentioned. We've got some broccoli, lettuce, red cabbage, and regular ball-headed cabbage. We
Yeah,
have
some
carrots,
yeah.
spinach, pak choy, broccoli, and of course Brussels sprouts. So what do people need to be thinking about for those raised beds outside?
Well, again, once you have everything ready, everything clean, new soil, you just have to just sow them outside.
Okay.
Give them enough room between them. Don't try to grow different things together. Don't try to grow tomatoes and then underneath try to grow some lettuce or something because the leaves of the tomatoes will be shading probably and they won't have enough light. They will be very leggy and ugly. They won't be compact. These plants are not very quick, but they are much quicker.
The beetroot are very, very fast
Very
growing,
fast
aren't they?
growing.
Very fast
and
growing,
lettuce as well. Some varieties are ready in nearly a month only. So
Yeah.
it's very quick and rewarding. They are tender leaves, so they are more tender. So they don't like the frost.
Yeah,
Cabbage can do it.
They're less hardy. They will, if there is any sort of frost
Yeah.
or anything like that, it will actually destroy them.
damage them. Cabbage is more resistant, but normally lettuce they like mild. They don't like very hot. Well,
Okay.
it's not they don't like, but they can do in mild weather.
Mild weather.
But so if you're gonna plant them, if it's gonna be a few days of very cold time, you just cover them with a fleece
Okay.
to make sure that they won't
Keep
get
them nice and
damaged,
snug. Yeah, we've always mentioned
yeah. So, and there's not very much. If you have a decent soil, if you have decent plants, if you don't do anything wrong, you don't really have to look just
and then-
the whole day.
So once you plant them, give them their own space. Make
Yes.
sure they have enough between each. Try and obviously keep the same type of
line, yeah.
vegetables together. As they're growing, then do you have to look out for stuff? Do you have to look out for any kind of slugs or fungus and all the stuff that kind of comes underneath it? or-
Well, it actually slugs and snails, they love it.
They love it. They love the
So-
leaves, the nice juicy leaves.
Is complicated. Again, it's a balance between nature, because if you put all these pellets,
Yeah.
you are destroying one type of snails, but you are keeping the
Oh,
smaller
no.
ones that
Okay.
they can get. So it's, again, you'll have probably some losses. Try to protect them with copper tape,
Protect them
or
with copper
this
tape.
something there.
Yeah.
Copper tape, they give them kind of small electric shock when they are going through.
Oh, go away,
So,
is that
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that's
brilliant.
it. That's it. So they go back. You can use beer as well if you're not drinking it.
Okay.
If you have a leftover, which I wouldn't,
Yeah.
and do some beer traps.
beer traps.
So
Okay.
you dig a little bit, a hole,
Yeah.
and you put a glass with beer. Not full, but you put the glass ground level.
Yeah.
And the snails and the slugs will go to that beer,
Okay.
and they will get
get drunk.
have a party.
But they'll die. It'll keep them
Yeah, they will die. They will die, but they will die very happy.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. Well, that's it. That's the sort of things that need to be kind of looked at. What's the perlite you got there for? What's the?
Well, that is perlite or vermiculite. Well, they are actually used for growing hydroponics, but in this case, what I am bringing it is because it's very good for making the soil, for softening the soil.
Softening the soil. Okay.
So the plants will be having better access to better growth because the soil won't be too packed. It avoids the soil being
Okay, so this
compact.
is something you add to your soil and your
And mix
compost
it
when you're
up.
putting it, mixing it
Yeah.
up, and it just kind of creates a little kind of
Exactly.
separator and aerates the whole
Exactly,
thing.
and
yeah.
aerates, and it retains moisture as well.
Retains
So it's
moisture,
just-
yeah.
What you should do is soak it before you put it.
Okay.
Not put it in dry. Just soak it in
Okay.
a bucket and then just put it out.
Right.
And it's very good because just normally the soils tend to compact
Yeah.
with time.
Especially if it's time and over dry, if it's dry weather, it'll
So
compact
that's what
as well
you
too.
have to use this
Yeah.
to fluff it a little bit before you. Once you're in there, you shouldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But before you just sow them, you just can break if you
Break it
didn't
up.
in a perfect world it could be new soil, but if you are using the last year's soil, just break the upper crust that normally
Yeah.
gets after the whole winter is just
Yeah.
dry and hard.
Yeah.
And you can mix this a little bit,
Mix the perlite through it. Okay.
and that will be aeration. The roots will grow better.
Mm-hmm.
They will find better environment for growing.
Okay.
So
It'll be
it
better.
actually
The
works.
soil improves
Yeah.
the biological value of the soil as well.
And
everything.
this
That's great.
takes the nutrients and it releases after
Okay.
when it's getting dry.
Brilliant. Okay.
It's
Now we've
totally neutral.
Okay.
No, has no nutrients, but it's very good.
Okay. We've also got a couple of other things here now. We've got our super phosphate root vegetable booster. This
Yes.
sounds the sort of thing they're going to love. It's like an energy drink for some of these things.
That's
is
it. Yeah, you have the super phosphate that is pure. It's pure phosphorus.
Okay.
So it's extremely good for flowering and for roots.
And this is then it's a
That's
sulfate of
nitrogen.
ammonia.
That's pure nitrogen.
Pure nitrogen.
Pure nitrogen,
Okay.
21% nitrogen. That is extremely rich. That will make your plants
Drive
boost.
them green.
Boom, green.
That'll drive them
Very
green.
green.
Okay. That's why they've got your broccoli, your spinach, your pak choi, and your Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. So that'll be
And
be
then-
good for that. Okay. What else have we
then-
got?
It's seaweed. It's very trendy. We have talked about this
We
before.
have talked about it. Now you keep using the word trendy, but I'd prefer to know: is it actually? Does it work?
Well, it does.
It does work.
It
But if
does
it works, that's
work.
the good thing. Organic.
It does work. What you have to be careful, and some people that talk to me about, is using this actual seaweed that
From
they
the
collect
actual
from
ocean.
the sea.
Right. Go down to the beach.
Yeah.
Bring back
and
some
I
seaweed.
just keep telling them that you have to wash it perfectly, very good,
Okay.
because it's salty.
Of course it is.
It's corn salt. So you better get one of those. It will last you forever.
Okay. Just you only need a small amount.
Yes, and it's not. You don't have to use it every time,
Yeah.
but it activates the microorganisms in the soil. organisms,
Organisms.
tomato,
Oh,
tomato.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's very good, but it's not a real food, okay? So it has a little bit of nutrients, but it's not a complete food. So what I will say is you need plenty of nitrogen to grow,
Okay, the nitrogen, yeah, sulfate,
and then
superphosphate.
potassium and phosphorus for when they are flowering or where the fruit is in.
Okay,
That's the tomato food. When you start using the tomato food is when you have plenty of small tomatoes or plenty of flowers.
okay.
People start using tomato food
Too early?
initially since the beginning because it's tomato food,
Yeah, they think
right.
that that's it.
but it's it has low nitrogen compared to this ammonia.
The ammonia or the
sulfate.
superphosphate, yeah, okay.
Now in the last years it's a little bit more balanced, but it's still better only when it's flowering.
Okay, so tomato food is best until the fruit or the flowers are actually appearing, because that means that's when it needs it.
Yep.
To start off, it needs the drive, it needs to grow, it needs to have
needs
strong,
nitrogen, exactly.
strong leaves and everything like that, and shooting up
Exactly.
and the support.
So the bigger the plant, the healthier the plant before it starts fruiting or packing or getting ready
Yeah,
is nitrogen. And the healthier the plant, the more fruit you'll have,
okay.
obviously.
Yeah,
So when it starts having different needs, it has to be all plenty of power.
Yeah,
no?
of
And then you
course.
can just change the
change the need, because it
needs
needs to then
because
the
they don't-
focus has to be on the fruit.
They
Yeah.
don't need that much nitrogen. They don't want to keep growing. They just
Yeah.
want to, at the end is just they want to
Produce fruit.
they want to produce
Seeds, yeah.
Exactly, seeds.
Exactly, yeah, and that's in the
So
fruit.
That's
yeah.
in the fruit.
So that's in their nature.
So it's, and see, we have here a few herbs.
Yes, we do. We got a few
Not
little
only
herbs, which I do
vegetables.
always love. My wife always slags me about how much I do love my herbs, but we have some garlic, we have some thyme, chives, mint, and you have lemon
I have
balm.
lemon balm. Yeah.
Now, lemon balm, you were just telling me a whole new thing to know about lemon balm, because it can be quite relaxing.
Yeah, it is. It's a plant called Melissa, and it's in plenty of the mixtures herbal mixtures you have. So you can just dry the leaves and make a tea with them.
Make a tea. Wow.
And it's a relaxing drink. It's a
Yeah.
relaxing tea.
So you might need one here after a heavy day
and
here
it's
in Boyles, you know?
Oh, maybe two.
Maybe two, yeah. And it smells lovely
It's
as well.
It smells lemony.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice taste when it's dried.
So these are kind of handy as well, just to have on the windowsill. You could have these on the windowsill,
you can,
or you could have them in
Moroccan
a small little...
mint and lemon balm, they don't like full sun.
They don't like
All
full
right.
sun, okay?
Moroccan mint, they can do well in half sun or, well, we're in Ireland.
Yeah,
Maybe
hey, look.
full shade is too much, but they can do well in shade.
Okay.
And they're very good for mojitos.
Oh, mojitos, we do
So
love
next
mojitos.
program we'll do one about mojitos.
Before we get to the end of this series, we'll be eating and drinking to our fill. Listen, that's great, Miguel. Thanks very much. That has given us lots of great tips on some things we can grow in the greenhouse and also in our raised beds, stuff how to treat it and how to drive it. And we'll revisit some of these. We'll be checking on your tomatoes.
We're going to do a
We'll check on
follow-up
tomato-
with those fellas. We're going to use this super bucket.
And I can't wait to have a big salad at the end of season.
I'm
end of season
not
show.
going to give you anything.
Come on.
That's all for me.
Listen,
Just
that's
grow
it.
your own.
Yeah, grow it. Okay, all right. So listen, that's it for this week here on the Kerry Garden Show. Thanks again to Miguel. Hopefully you've picked up lots of great tips here for baking some lovely food and having your own vegetables at home. Until next time, for myself, Miguel, and everyone here at Boyles of Killorglin, happy gardening.
Happy gardening.